After 3 long years of waiting for a continuation to our favorite slime isekai, the season 3 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime has finally returned, and with episode 1 being released, I thought it would be good to do a comparison video between the anime adaptation and the light novel, mainly the content that was cut from the source material. For example, what Rimuru discussed with Ramirez during Walpurgis, some additional information regarding Valdra's deal with Diablo, the inner thoughts of the sorcerer Razan, and what happened at the Farmer Kingdom, along with some minor world building details as well. As usual, a spoiler warning for anyone that hasn't watched the episode yet or might find the cut content information I've mentioned to be spoilers. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share with your friends. Now then, episode 1 of season 3 is called Demons and Strategies. It covers some of the events found in chapter 1 of the volume 7 light novel. And the episode continues back in Walpurgis right after Claimant's defeat, so it also means that the ending we saw in the final episode of season 2 was basically just a placeholder or filler. In any case, even though much of the interaction that occurred for this section did not have a lot of changes, there were a few conversation points from the light novel that were removed from the episode. For starters, Rimuru talking about his reasons for staying as he wanted to enjoy the food at the banquet so that he can steal the recipes for Shuna. Additionally, the discussion that Rimuru had with Carrion and Frey about helping them to relocate and rebuild now that they have become Milim subordinates, along with the part where Ramirez was constantly pestering Rimuru throughout Walpurgis about moving to Tempest, were not included in the episode as well. That said, the rest of the banquet proceeded accordingly, so after it ended, Rimuru and his attendants will return to Tempest, and it explains why he intentionally left the plastered Ramirez behind because he probably doesn't want her to follow him. Also, I do want to mention there's actually a prologue chapter in the light novel that wasn't adapted in this episode, which mainly switches to the perspective of the moderate Count Troop, and it depicts Laplace informing his friends about the death of Claimant, but I'm sure this particular sequence will simply be moved to another episode. So moving over to Tempest, it was interesting that the anime included a brief cameo of Gobuna, a very minor hobgoblin character that was featured in the light novel. But anyways, once Rimuru enters the town, he was greeted by everyone and the welcoming act was pretty much the same, although with some minor differences. Essentially, in the light novel, Rimuru learning how Diablo knew about the events that happened in Walpurgis, Valdra revealing that he sold the information to Diablo for 3 servings of desserts, Diablo and Xion bickering had all happened on the spot, as opposed to taking place in the office like we see in the episode. Furthermore, Rimuru doesn't head over to his office immediately as well after returning. Instead, he will be escorted by Rimuru to relax in the hot spring bath first, only then Rimuru listen to Diablo's report when everything has settled down. And the part in the episode where Rimuru learns that Valdra had interrupted with Diablo's mission in Falmouth happened much earlier in contrast to the light novel, where Rimuru only finds out after Diablo finished explaining about his plans. But I think the episode version is funnier because having the interaction occur earlier means we get to enjoy seeing Valdra sulking in the background the entire time. On a side note, Studio 8-bit definitely gives Xion a major bout to her assets, because I don't remember her being this big in season 2. Let me know if you think so as well in the comments down below, or am I just crazy? With that said, the following conversation that took place inside Rimuru's office was the same in the light novel, and Diablo will begin with his report about the mission in the Farmer Kingdom. Regarding the report, when Diablo mentions restoring the 3 farmer prisoners to their original state, this is where in the light novel Rimuru will internally reflect on what happened to them that wasn't really adapted into the episode. Basically, he realized that he should be more specific when he asked Xion to restrain herself, and that he regretted visiting the 3 prisoners because he even stated that if he was still human, he would have definitely vomited at the sight of them. And the light novel also provided a more excruciatingly detailed explanation on how Xion was able to use her unique skill Cook to turn them into mounds of flesh. To explain, she apparently used a skill to first inhibit their feelings of pain so that they won't die from the shock of physical torture, and then she proceeded to slowly skin, peel and slice off their exposed flesh piece by piece. And once they reach their limits, she would then use healing potions to heal their wounds so that she can repeat the process over and over again. She even made sure they were conscious the entire time to witness themselves being dismembered for additional emotional damage. That's why in the episode, Diablo said that Xion made his job more troublesome because he had to figure out a method to reverse a curse. But there was a brief moment in the light novel where it made Diablo happy since he enjoyed finding a way to break the curse. Regardless, once Diablo returns Brahim to his original form, he will move on to Razan, whose inner thoughts about the situation was more detailed in the light novel. Razan would then go on to explain the true nature of a primordial demon and provided examples on why Diablo is a dangerous being. And that wasn't all, there's another part about Razan misunderstanding Rimuru's words about don't overdo things as a warning to not only him, but the entire Farmer Kingdom as well, when in reality, he was simply worried that Xion might kill the prisoners. This was in contrast to the episode's more simplified version where Razan only mentions that Diablo is terrifying because he's a primordial demon, and how the Former Kingdom has screwed themselves after they messed with Diablo's master. But aside from that, the conversation Diablo had with the 3 prisoners in the episode and him using the unique skill Tempter to control them went about the same as the light novel. Now to continue, before the scene that takes place inside the throne room, there was actually a prior sequence that happened in the light novel where Diablo would send Razan and Rahim along with the still cursed King Amarus back to the palace first, then having them both pretend to be unconscious so that all the nobles, minister and people within the palace could witness the state of the king for a few days to instill a greater sense of fear and hopelessness in them. It was after Razan awakens that it provides an explanation to the nobles present in the room, and having learned about the fate of the Former Kingdom from his new master Diablo, Razan follows the script given to him, but aside from some minor details being left out, much of what Razan said in the episode did follow the light novel. For instance, Razan only mentions that they managed to escape thanks to help from the champion Yom in the episode, and not how the champion will soon arrive after he has gone to negotiate with the leader of the monster nation to get a cure for the king's condition. In addition to that, the reaction of the nobles was tamer in the episode as well, because in the light novel, some were completely struck by fear, some were panicking like crazy, some desired to attack the monsters again, and some even suggested to abandon the kingdom. Also, the person that was asking the nobles to quiet down was Marquis Mueller. He was the inside man that Fuse had mentioned back in season 2, and he was also part of Diablo's plan to overthrow the Former Kingdom. In the light novel, it was stated that he was contacted by Diablo the night before Razan will provide his statement to the nobles. That said, Yom's group soon enters the throne room with Diablo following behind, and Razan will continue with his explanation, this time with backup from Rahim as well. And much of what they said in the episode were the same as the light novel, although they were both always peeking at Diablo to see his reaction, which would have been quite funny if the episode kept this small detail. But following Razan's explanation, it was Yom's turn, and what he said in the episode was pretty much the same as well, even the part where Carlos was talking down to him. However, the light novel does showcase a bit more of Yom's internal feelings at the time, as he was afraid of talking to the nobles, not because of his status as a commoner, rather it was the fact that he knows they might accidentally offend Diablo. And there was even a part in the light novel where he recalls having a discussion with Mira and Grucius prior to this sequence about the possibility of Diablo killing everyone in the throne room if he found the nobles to be annoying or rude. And even though it wasn't explicitly shown in the episode, they still did well to convey this feeling of dread in them through Grucius and Miran's facial expressions when Carlos was causing a scene. And it wasn't only Yom, Razan's internal thoughts in the light novel held the same sentiment as well. He knew how Diablo viewed human lives and realized that if he doesn't control the situation, Carlos won't be the only one to die, and it might even cause the death of all the citizens of the Former Kingdom. That's why Razan immediately freezes Carlos before the noble can say anything that might offend Diablo even further. So after dealing with Carlos, Razan, Rahim and Yom had continued to try to convince the nobles in the light novel, with Marquis Mueller and Earl Herman, who wasn't featured in the episode, occasionally intervening to ease the nobles. And once the nobles agreed to accept Rimuru's proposal, it was only then Diablo approaches the throne of King Amarus, easily bypassing the royal guards, who were mentioned in the light novel to all be rank A by the standard of the Freedom Association, and they only backed off because they sensed the ominous aura of Diablo. Additionally, the full potion Diablo had used on King Amarus doesn't actually work, and the light novel will reveal that it was just a dramatic performance by Diablo because he heard that Rimuru plans on selling the full potion to other nations, which is why he pretended to use the full potion to restore King Amarus, when in reality he simply used his magic to undo the curse because he wanted to promote the item. Now, another part the episode removed from the light novel was Diablo's internal thoughts and how he never planned on killing anyone despite being offended at some of the nobles, because he knew that Rimuru would no longer trust him if he did something like this. It was for this reason that Diablo resorted to using scare tactics to make the nobles more obedient, and even if there were any idiots that picked the wrong side, he would simply eliminate them afterwards. And the light novel also goes into more detail about how Diablo was controlling Razan, Rahim and King Amarus through his unique skill Tempter by having complete dominance over whoever that pledges loyalty to Diablo. And because King Amarus has been affected by Tempter, Diablo can easily sense if he has any notion of betrayal, so he is confident that the king has fully accepted his position. And Diablo presenting the king with a peace treaty and proposal in the episode, later ending with a final threat to all the nobles, went accordingly to the light novel. And following Diablo's departure, in the light novel, it actually proceeds to show King Amarus gathering all the remaining nobles to discuss about their future plans, but I'm sure this sequence will be shown in the upcoming episodes, so I'm not counting this as removed content for now. Having said that, Diablo would then conclude his report to Rimuru, and the light novel actually provides some world building not mentioned in the episode, such as how the currency works and the average income of the inhabitants. To put it simply, a copper coin is equal to around 100 yen, a silver coin is 10,000, and a gold coin is around 1 million. It was for this reason that Rimuru was surprised in the episode when he heard Diablo asking the Farmer Kingdom for 10,000 stellar gold coins in reparation fees, because one piece equates to roughly 100 million yen. And due to the living standards of the world still being quite low, a normal laborer in larger cities can only earn roughly 150 coins per month, and for country folks it was even lower. But that wasn't all. Rimuru also goes on to explain how he thinks Diablo came up with this amount for reparation in a light novel, because apparently when he told Diablo about his plans for globalization and domination through the economy, Diablo decided to milk the Farmer Kingdom so that they can get a head start towards this goal. With that, Diablo would then explain his plans on taking over the Farmer Kingdom to Rimuru, and much of what he said pretty much followed the light novel. In any case, the episode definitely did a good job at capturing the intelligence and brilliance of Diablo, showing that he isn't only insanely strong but amazing at planning as well. And overall, Season 3 really started out strong with some nice improvements to not only the animation, but still maintaining the quality story adaptation of the previous 2 seasons as well.
黙れと言っている。お前たちの都合などリムル様には関係ない。いいですか？
But yeah, there wasn't a lot of important parts removed aside from a few minor world building and story details. So what are your thoughts on episode 1 so far? Feel free to share your opinions down below. Also, if you enjoyed this cat content video, remember to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well and hit that notification button for more content like this as well. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.